Two Rivers Talks is brought to you by Two Rivers Biz Starts. Also by Two Rivers Main Street. And by Raleigh Point Economic Advising. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello everybody, welcome to Two Rivers Talks, your source of information for all things Two Rivers. My name is Todd, this is my cohort, Darla. Say hello, Darla.
Hello, Darla.
Oh, very good. We are here to share with you all kinds of information about Two Rivers, whether you live here in the city, whether you used to live here, whether you're thinking of living here, or whether you moved away and you're thinking of coming back, which you should be, by the way. We are really glad you're here with us on this podcast today.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned for all kinds of news, information, fun and games, nonsense that we bring into every episode. We have a really cool episode ahead today. In this episode, we get to talk to a couple of friends from the Clipper City Co-op.
Right.
We'll be speaking with Dayna Kennedy and Leann Swartz and learn all about the history of the co-op, and sort of they're going to tell us all the secrets. We're going to know. We're going to have the inside track.
We're going to, after all of this stuff that I've been watching on television, a phrase that keeps coming up that now I get to use it, we'll get to see how the sausage is made.
How the sausage is made?
Yeah.
Are they totally vegetarian or?
I don't know.
But vegetarian sausage?
But it's kind of like we're going to get all the inside scoop as to,
the inside scoop of sausage.
Yeah.
Great. Yes. This is getting better and better. Okay. And in addition to that, we have a musical guest today. It's been a little while since we've had a musical guest.
It's been a long time.
So I'm excited to hear the work of the beautiful musical stylings of Ms. Helena Hamann.
Right.
And she's going to be playing the harp for us. That's going to be kind of amazing.
I've been fortunate enough to be able to enjoy her music. She's 14 years old, folks.
Wow.
And she's really quite something.
Yeah. You think she plays a little rock harp,
No.
Can you have like a heavy metal harp? Okay.
Well, we talked about, asking her if she'd do a little Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah. That'd be cool, right? Anyway.
We could throw her for a loop. Why not? I'm in the mood.
I am too. Well, we hope you're in the mood and you'll stick with us as we launch into our next segment where we talk to the Clipper City Co-op. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back, everybody. And we are here with our two special guests from the Clipper City Co-op, Ms. Dayna Kennedy, and here on my direct left is Ms. Leann Swartz. We are so glad you guys are able to join us on the show here today and tell us a little bit about the Clipper City Co-op.
We're happy to be here.
Would you maybe give us, for those who are maybe not familiar with the co-op, I see you guys all the time at farmers markets and things like that, and I'm excited about what you're doing, but maybe a little background about what the co-op is and why the co-op is.
Sure. Well, the co-op started a number of years ago by a small group of individuals as an idea to bring a full-service, locally sourced, community-owned grocery store to the Manitowoc area. And it's a long process, and throughout that process there's been steering committees and boards formed and committees formed to just kind of get us to opening a store. And we're excited because we're close to that phase where we can actually begin building our store. So that's where we are, and we're excited to serve the Manitowoc area.
Well, I know one thing that floored me was that the idea began back in December of 2012. I had no idea that you guys had been working on this idea for 7 years.
Sure. For most cooperatives take about 7 to 10 years to open. So it might seem like a long time. I think people think move slowly, but actually we're right on track, and we're right on track to most co-ops. So
that's fantastic.
It might seem like a long time, but we're doing it well, and we got to do it right for it to be successful.
Well, and I mean just the level of commitment, because if you go into it knowing that it's going to take several years to get it off the ground, is I mean 7 years out of your life, but the dedication and the perseverance,
Right.
but you have to be prepared. So, and it seems like you guys have a really good group of people. How many people are on the board?
9
Okay.
of all diverse backgrounds. Very diverse backgrounds.
Well, I think that's wonderful. I was reading your mission statement, and I like the idea that the grocery store is dedicated to providing the locally sourced food. We have an abundance of produce and protein and just everything that a person could possibly want. We're in the heartland, and it's all here. It's all available, and it's nice knowing what it is that you're putting on your table. And this is really going to give people an opportunity to be a lot more health conscious and to know what it is that they're consuming. Because right now, you go to just regular grocery store, you don't know. You don't know the history of it or how it was,
Right, and now like food scares like with romaine lettuces and some of the contamination, with some of those things, because if you don't know the farmers that are producing what it is that you consume, you're at a disadvantage, and I think.
And you're really at their mercy.
Right.
Of whatever is on the shelves. So, well, I'm going to stop talking, and I want you guys to talk. So if you want to talk more about the history.
Well, I did want to kind of touch on the local that you had mentioned, because I think it's really important when people are going out shopping, because we hear a lot of organic or local or farm fresh. Grocery stores are really tapping into that now. So when you see local at some places, we really don't know what that local is. It
Right.
could be United States. It could be 500 miles.
If they're tapping into it at all, I mean,
most grocery stores are regional.
Right. I mean, when I first moved up here a couple of years ago, I went to a local grocery chain and went back to the meat market and said, "Hey, do you have anything without hormones in it?" And I got this blank look, like, "What? What are you asking about?" They've gotten better since then, but I think that underscores the reason that people are more mindful about their food.
Correct.
And we really need that.
And one of the things for our local producers and our smaller people that we need to support that live in our community, they can't necessarily get their product into a grocery store or a chain. So the co-op is going to be a really nice way to support truly local food producers and our neighbors.
Okay. Exactly.
Our neighbors. For every $1 that's spent in a food co-op, it's estimated that $1.61 stays in the community or comes back to the community. So it truly is an investment in your neighbor, and we all do work in business in this area, and we want to support our neighbors so that we can also be successful. It's a ripple effect.
I hadn't thought about that, but I know of 2 people personally who like the grocery store up the street that shall remain nameless. They cannot get their product in there. It's just not approved for that chain.
Correct. About 5 companies have their products.
Okay.
And it's controlled by about 5 companies.
Okay.
Almost all of our food. So.
Yeah, and it just seems so counterintuitive, and you do want to, and I love the idea of supporting, the people in the community. And I'm really, how big of a grocery store, because like right now you're still getting membership. You're still doing a membership drive, and we'll talk about that some more. About a month ago I joined. I was really happy. So I feel like I'm part of something pretty special. So
And you are.
Yeah. But I missed the party last night. Meet the members.
Right, the seed members.
Yeah.
Right.
So, it is such a special thing, and it is. I'm excited about it, and I know that once you meet your number of people who are going to be members, then you're going to get a grocery store. Right now, you are down at Coolest Coast in a temporary pop-up shop. How large of a space are you looking for? I'm just curious as to how big it is that you're going to start off?
Yeah, so the sites we're looking at right now, we want the actual open grocery store to the general public to be 5,000 square feet. As far as the buildings we're looking at, obviously we have to take into account how much of that's going to be kind of back cooler stuff, because we'd also like to offer, if someone wanted to buy half a steer, you know, a freezer area that they could come in and we can transfer that out the back section, and also any sort of deliveries that we would have. We also want to set up a station where local restaurants can come and pick up some fresh produce, and some ordering ways that they can request their foods from us like a week in advance, and we shoot a call out to our local providers and they bring us what they have. So
Okay.
it's a great way to not just have 2 days that our local producers can be selling like a farmer's market. It's a 7 days a week way
Right.
for them to be generating income. They don't, you know, their time should be doing what they're best at. Our job is to make sure they're getting paid and that our local community is getting what they need.
I think, well, you know, and immediately what springs to mind is Holla. I mean, how convenient for them, you know. And we were just talking about during our community, you know, current events and community happenings, the fact that for the month of December, Holla is off of specialty pizzas, 10% of what they earn is going to the Lighthouse.
Recovery.
Yeah,
Yep.
which I think is tremendous. And one thing that I didn't realize is that they just celebrated their first year in business too. But how convenient for them, because I'm assuming that at this point in time, they have to go to all these providers individually and get all of their produce. And so you're going to do the legwork. You're going to do the hard part for them.
That's our goal. That's our goal. Yeah, make everything easier for the businesses in Manitowoc County to be able to get these places at a one-stop shop.
Okay. Now, are there any other restaurants that are kind of going down this road and looking for locally sourced produce and proteins and all that?
Well, I think one of the things I hear from our community and other past and current restaurant owners is that they would love to do more local food and highlight more local food, because it is what the customer wants. The customer is starting to care about where their food comes from, and I shouldn't even say starting. It's been a trend. We're just now being able to provide it more. So.
And also not even necessarily outside restaurants, but our goal is to have a fresh deli too, you know, your soup, sandwich, salad, something like that. So, you know, those downtown workers who don't have a lot of options can come in and have something healthy and take it out. So we want to keep this as sustainable as far as the produce goes too, and make sure we're using that in a responsible way.
And I see your point. If you're able to provide the locally sourced goods, then more of the local restaurants are going to want to do that. It's just they haven't had the opportunity.
It's not cost effective for them to do it currently, and time effective. You know, there's a lot of moving parts, and restaurants are hard enough businesses the way it is. Sourcing the food is a huge task. So,
I bet.
and you know, when you can order from any chain and just check that box. We will also have online ordering and those kinds of things. So you know, I think it's important for people, especially some of the people that might know what a co-op is. There are a lot of small co-ops that offer, you know, that are run by volunteers, or they're, you know, that you maybe walk in and you've got some bulk items, some natural food items, and maybe some personal care products. But what we are proposing to what we are going to bring to Manitowoc is a full service, you know, well lit grocery store, you know, that you're walking into, with a lot of other features, and but it's a full service grocery store. So it's not you know your hippie granola co-op grocery store of the 70s.
So I was going to ask about that. So like co-op, you know, what makes it a co-op? Like and for people that maybe that's not a familiar concept to them, like it sounds a little cult-like. Why I gotta join it? Like, make it not scary for them. Yeah.
Okay, so one of the things, because I understand, you know, I'm born and raised in Manitowoc area, so I do understand what people are saying. But what I think is really important for us to hit home to our Manitowoc area and to this wonderful Wisconsin, Wisconsin is actually the state that supports co-ops. So think of a credit union, that is a cooperatively owned business.
Okay.
Farmers co-ops. When we're going to some of those country stores, that's a co-op. So it might sound like a socialist kind of thing,
Well,
but it's
I'm not judging.
So.
I'm a member of a co-op.
So it's really important for people to understand that a co-op is a community owned and almost operated business, not necessarily like personally, but they have a say in the operations. So it is a democratically run organization. That serves its community. Our number one goal is serving the community, serving the people that have a stake in it.
Very good, very good. So, about how far are we away from this said grocery store, which sounds lovely, by the way?
Countdown to downtown. It's been that long process, and I think we're kind of finally to that spot where we will be able to announce a site soon. I'm not sure how soon, but. Right now we are at 600 and we'll just say 10 because it changes every day.
Right.
We're probably at 614 right now. I don't know. They're coming in like crazy.
Good.
So we need 750 owner members.
Okay.
That's not our cutoff. We want more.
Right.
Keep them coming. But those original or OG 750, that number is that benchmark that according to our pro forma and our market studies, and this is what we can say. We can sign a lease, we can open our store, and we're going to be successful. We have enough of our community invested in it. So that number is 750.
Okay.
So we are in that countdown to downtown once we can announce that downtown site.
Downtown Two Rivers.
Manitowoc.
Well, now let's make it
Sorry,
happen.
Two
Come on, Two
Rivers.
We'll have a satellite
Vote here.
grocery store here in Two Rivers.
Right.
That would be awesome.
But
And-
I do want to let you guys know that every board meeting that we hold and we're making some of these decisions, because we do sit at the pop-up site and we I personally love to listen to what older members who have gone through all of these years are expecting, want to know, and then some of the new people who, like you guys, have experienced co-ops in other cities, and there's as soon as I heard it, I had to be a part of it. Just that belief in that system. So in January, our goal is to finalize our top 3 sites that we've been searching for. So we've had a site selection team for 2 years, kind of monitoring the ebb and flow of downtown Manitowoc real estate.
Right.
And we are going to send that information back to the third party who did our original market study, update those specific buildings, and hopefully by the time we hit 750, we will have a concrete, fully objectionable document that says, that's it. That's the one.
I think that's amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I tease, of course, about Two Rivers, but I mean, everybody living in Two Rivers is going to reap the benefits of having a co-op in Manitowoc. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's good for all of us.
It's a 10-minute drive along that beautiful Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
In the morning, in the afternoon, she's beautiful all the time. So.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we're the same community people.
Absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
this. Great.
Between you
Coolest
and I, though,
coast.
I like Two Rivers a little bit better than Manitowoc.
Oh, here we go.
You got good.
Two Rivers love. Two Rivers love.
Now, did you grow up in Two Rivers? Or?
I grew up in Manitowoc,
In Manitowoc,
but
okay.
I have lived in the town of Two Rivers.
Okay.
But I've worked in Two Rivers as well. I love Two Rivers. I love the small community.
Yep.
And I don't know, it's just something about Two Rivers and that river and that lake and running into rivers is special.
We have a little je ne sais quoi.
Yeah.
Ooh la
We
la.
love it.
And Neshota Beach. The Neshota
Yeah.
Beach, one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
And then Leann, what about you?
I grew up in Door County, so still a coastal community.
Neighbors, yeah.
Our friends to the north. I moved here 2 years ago for all kinds of family and economic reasons. And literally, my husband and I said, whoever gets a job first in whatever community, that's where we're going. And so we kind of blindsided our way here and have been making a difference since we got here. So I personally live right in downtown Two Rivers, so
You're the downtown here?
yeah, I
That's so
live
cool.
like
Okay.
2 blocks away
And you work over at the
at US Bank
right?
in Two
Okay.
Rivers. So I live, breathe this area of Manitowoc, everything that's happening economically. It's important to me, and I also think development of something new is really important.
Absolutely.
And we're all about that. I mean, economic development and startups, and you guys are a prime example. I mean, you are like, you're the picture of you know, the co-op
right?
should be in the, you know, in the dictionary when it comes to it, because all of, you know, it's like when I started the gallery, that was an easy start. What you guys are doing is so involved and takes so much planning and the steps and all that.
And
Yeah.
sometimes when people ask, well, why is it taking so long? I try to explain we are opening a business, and it's not just my business, it's your business and your business and your business. So it matters what decisions we make, because we have 600 owners telling us how to do this, not just 2 or 1.
You're accountable to all those investors, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm curious, how did you both get involved with this venture? How did you find out about it, and how did you get absorbed?
Mine's kind of interesting. So I was at the Manitowoc County Home Show that they have at the expo down there, and I had met John Ellerman, who's our treasurer, and I was just like, oh yeah, I do care about this stuff. And they were giving away like chickens or something like that. And I was like, yes, I'm totally into that. Here's a chicken. Yeah, we have spin the wheel and you get a frozen chicken. She makes us sound so weird.
I can imagine weirder, but that was good.
Yeah, I was really excited about it, honestly. And so between talking to John, he was telling me all about what they were doing, and you know, when you get those things, you're like, oh, I gotta think about it. Like I am totally, I gotta think about it person. And then you know, the next one over there was like an environmental cleanup thing. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense why you guys are like right next to each other. So I was like, okay, like I had the brochure, and then later so I work in the real estate side. A realtor came up to me and they're like, they need someone on the board and I think you would be perfect for it. And I was like, 2 people are recruiting me. Like I have to see what's like going on with this. And I mean, you know, and the more you learn, the more you're like, this does matter. It's really important. And they needed like a business perspective person on there, someone who's like, I don't know if you've really thought of that. You know, like have you thought of the seller side of things? Like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do technology? How are you going to, you know, do that and fit in the costs that are with it, whether buying or leasing and renovating and all of those things. So taking really, you guys have done all of this planning. Now let's put it in all of these, you know, business plan type of things that, and get this thing rolling.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. And you got a chicken out of it.
And I got a chicken.
That's awesome.
And the connection to the farmer who, like,
okay.
And she met the farmer. Win-win. She probably knows the chicken's name.
It's true.
Was it delicious?
It was amazing. If you've never made your own personal rotisserie chicken, like, I suggest
so
it.
good. Yeah. Well, that's just it. So, my wife and I have been avid farmers marketers. We call ourselves professional marketers for like a couple of decades now, and we love that relationship with the farmers that we get. But then the thing you always worry about is what they're doing sustainable enough for them, you know. And so having a co-op where there is a consistent outlet for their products, because like, you know, like not everybody's as dedicated to go every week to the farmers market and go buy stuff, but to have, you know, for me to go to maybe a market that's open during regular business hours and I can go buy things like that, that's really enabling from an economic perspective those farmers to have a more sustainable lifestyle that they can maintain themselves. So I'm excited about this, you know, for you guys and for them. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, most farmers don't just farm. They have full-time jobs off of the farm. And they also have to market their product, and they also have to raise their families. And they also have to then go out in our communities and spend money. So we're asking them to do an awful lot, and it's really not a sustainable model for them right now to compete with the bigger guys. There's a lot of things kind of stacked against them, and the co-op is going to be that one thing that they can kind of breathe easier about. At the end of the day, they don't necessarily have to sit at a farmer's market for it. At a farmer's market, I have been a grower. I have sold food to woodmans and those kinds of things as a job. It is a difficult business getting into a grocery store, even with just one or two products. So we are going to be that outlet, and I think there's going to be farmers that can actually then focus a little bit more on what they do best, and that's growing healthy food for our community.
How many different providers do you have involved now?
So currently on our membership list, currently we don't have solid producer relationships. That's going to be something that's going to be up to our general manager once they are brought on and hired. But currently we have at least 12 producers that are ready and kind of wanting to supply the co-op with products. And those are just really early owners. Yeah, right. So they're also owners.
Okay.
But there are a lot of small farms that are ready and willing to provide to the co-op.
And I think you'll find when the doors are open statewide, there's going to be a lot of Wisconsin producers who are probably just going to be dropping by and being like, hey, I make my own tomato sauce or whatever it might be. And, it's okay for them to be in competition or together. Why wouldn't we support a Manitowoc person and a Green Bay producer?
Well, and I think the other element of this too is that having to come up with all these locally sourced produce items, for example, you're going to get a variety of food items that you don't see at a big grocery chain.
And fresh.
So, you get eggs that are raised on the farm and brought right to the store, and you never tasted eggs so good as that.
Right.
Or if you've never tasted, if you used to Roman tomatoes or store tomatoes all your life, and suddenly you try an heirloom tomato, that'll rock your world. Just amazing. Or a purple Viking potato versus your Yukon Gold, or whatever. I'm such a food nerd. I love this. It's
I'm drooling already. And we're talking tomatoes, and it's the middle of winter, so we should not be doing that.
Sorry.
Hope you have tomatoes in the freezer. Now's the day to pull them out, right? Ooh, yum.
Yeah, but I think rather than people thinking another grocery store opening, this is a big deal. Just the diversity of things that are going to be available, and all the amazing, delicious things that get raised locally that you can't get shipped in to your local grocery chains.
And I think a lot of people are aware of what is happening or what has been happening to our food supply. Thank goodness for the internet and documentaries. But those tomatoes that we see shipped in from other areas, they're tomatoes and they're going to do okay. But when you're spending your food dollars on something that's probably not as nutritionally dense as it could be. And once those products are grown locally, they're not shipped, they're not sprayed, irradiated. I was gonna say irradiated. They're picked at the appropriate time of picking, when they're nutrient dense, when they've got the most good stuff that we actually need in our bodies. Once our community starts getting consistent access to that, I think we're actually going to see an increase in health and wellness, and that's kind of a cool idea too.
I love that.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I know one thing I hate is you go into the store and there's that beautiful orange or there's that beautiful tomato, and you take it home and there's no flavor.
Yeah.
It's
right.
What happened? I understand what the process has been, and it's but I feel like I'm being duped all the time. It's I get lulled into a sense of, this is going to
I have access to a piece of cardboard.
I have access to a strawberry in January.
Yeah.
And certainly, I think as a co-op, we do want to try and provide as much diverse access to different food as possible. But in the grand scheme of things, we do need to educate the community and just let them know that sometimes it's just not always possible. And what's important is to provide foods that are a good value for your dollar throughout the year. So that's another aspect to a co-op.
You know, that kind of it's brought a question to my mind. I know that, like, what I read, you talk about educating the community and the fact that, you know, produce is seasonal. Would you ever maybe in the future have like classes? Have you thought about having classes like on canning, or, you know, preserving your food, or doing something like that so people can take advantage of, you know, purchasing the food when it's fresh and viable, but to be able to enjoy it year round?
So there's definitely a community, like everything we do is community minded. So we do want to have space to do those things, whether it's us ourselves or partnering with other food organizations who, you know, maybe we write a grant for it together and we use our facility to do it. So we want to be, you know, whatever people want. If enough people said, man, I would really love to learn how to can my own tomato sauce, let's do it.
Okay.
Like,
so you're open.
absolutely.
Oh, I think that's wonderful.
I brought up, you know, obviously some of this fresh produce is, you know, gonna wilt and stuff like that. And what are we gonna do? Why don't we teach people how to compost? And have some fresh compost? And we're obviously not growing at the grocery store, so why can't people use it? Like,
Okay. Oh wow. There's a lot more to this than I even realized.
Well, I think one of the important things to consider is that the possibilities are really endless. But our grocery store does have another important goal, and that is to make money. You know, even though it's kind of a community effort, and we want to support the community, we also do want to be a viable business. So kind of thinking like along the lines of a business with a conscience, and a business with a lot of collaboration.
Okay.
So so if we have ways to serve our community and we can do it as a co-op, and that's what our ownership wants, we're going to be doing that.
Okay.
You know, it's not just one CEO deciding everything. We are electing, as owners, we're electing our board of directors to make those decisions, and we are holding our leaders accountable for what they're providing for our community.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, if I want to become a co-op owner, is that how you term it?
Yes, you are an owner member.
Yeah, that's the cool term.
You are purchasing a ownership share. You're purchasing a share.
So if I buy a share, what does that get me? What is the value of that to me? Does that mean like if I don't have a share, I can't shop at the co-op? Or
No.
Okay.
Because we do want, you know, we are a business. We want everybody to be able to shop. We also want to be able to provide everybody in our community with healthy food. So you don't have to be in order to shop. However, there will be perks. Number one perk is bragging rights. That you're actually supporting your community.
Can lord it over your friends, yes,
right,
and enemies.
And if you're one of the OG 750s, you will get your name on a feature wall in the store, which is also important.
Cool. I get a little pin that says OG 750.
We will be making those, so yes, absolutely,
nice.
absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Yes. He's gonna get his checkbook out right now.
I figured.
I'm all out right here. Let's see.
But and ownership also allows you to vote for our leaders. Again, it's a democratically run organization, so that's what an ownership
So we elect the
you.
board.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Before the store opens, there are ownership perks currently. So we have local businesses that offer discounts on what they might provide. So currently, this month or last month, November, we had Nancy Kellner of Kellner Backacre Gardens up in Denmark. There, she offered some money off of her wonderful, delicious, organic or heritage pastured turkeys and chickens. So that was.
I've had her chickens.
They're amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was last month. This month we've got money off of a meat share box from Slow Food Co-op,
Okay.
which is a farmer's meat co-op.
I tried some of their meat at the last farmer's market. Oh my gosh, so good.
It's,
yeah.
Yes, it's amazing.
Like she's just like, okay, we don't do anything to this. There's no salt or anything on it. There's a flavor. Just try a piece. You try it. It's like,
Yes. Yes.
yes.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry, food geek, right?
I know. I'm hungry now.
I think our next one should be like a cooking class.
We should do a cooking show. Yeah.
I was just saying tasting personally.
You can be our
You know
judge.
what I'm saying? All right. I've always wanted to do one of those.
Oh my gosh. I love to cook.
We'll be your snarky judges.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
You'll give us a recipe. We'll use food co-op ingredients, and then we'll each prepare it, and then you decide which dish you like best.
I'm game.
Huh?
Okay.
Huh?
I'm down.
Huh?
Absolutely.
The gauntlet is thrown.
I'm winning.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh yes.
In your dreams.
You'll have to turn the gallery into a restaurant.
That's right.
I was thinking at least a wine bar.
Well, that works too.
I
wait,
know.
if
Oh.
there's wine being served while we're cooking, I'm gonna win. So. Yeah.
I get very creative on the vino.
That's true. That's true. That's
Yes.
true. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I'll
so,
be in trouble.
But
Okay.
in the future, we shall do that. I think that would
That'd
be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Anyways, so this has been really great hearing about all the stuff you guys have planned, and the timeline and the journey you've been on, and the great things you want to bring to the community. Thank you so much for being on the show and telling us about all this. My last question for you, and you might have another question yet too, but what do you need next? Like, is there anything we can do to kind of help get the word out about for the community for you guys?
So our most our biggest needs that we have right now are going to be volunteers. So Dayna is part of the recruitment of getting that OG 750. So even though we're at that 610 mark now, our biggest milestone goal is 750. So if you'd like more information about becoming an owner yourself, or if you want to volunteer because you believe in the cause yourself, contact Dayna. And we hit the community with our feet running here. For myself, I am actively with another board member working on our capital campaign, because obviously we want to make sure that as we're hitting these milestones, that the board is also evolving with that too. So anybody who has background in the grant writing, in donations, those sorts of things, we're going to need you hard and fast coming up in the next year. So contact us if you have an interest in any of those sorts of places, and we will have a team for you to work with.
And I do want to mention that down in the doobly-doo, we will have all of your contact information and also a link to your website. And so that if any of the viewers want to find out more information, we'll make it easy for you to get in touch with these ladies and donate your time, become a member. I recently became a member and I'm happy about doing that, especially now that I did not know all of this when I first joined. And now it makes it even more exciting to me because, and I have to give you guys kudos for the perseverance, for the thought. I mean, the attention to detail as to what you're doing, and that's a huge commitment, like we talked about earlier. But I really applaud you.
And our goal is to do it right the first time. We want to make sure that we think of the white glove touch as we open the store, and that we're taking everybody's opinions into account of needs, wants,
Okay.
all of that stuff. So, I mean, we're definitely a very we want to know what you guys want.
Awesome.
Because it helps us direct things. And as Dayna's been doing like a phenomenal job since she's come on board getting owners, it pumps us up too.
Perfect.
To amp up our game a little too.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for joining us as owners.
Oh,
Yeah.
And for
he's
having
next.
us.
I am next, yeah. No, I had already committed to Jill that I was going to join. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, yeah, so we're really excited to see you guys, and maybe you'll be back after the 750 OG
Yeah.
gets signed.
Hey, how about we come back here and we can actually announce our site, or that might be a nice
Yeah, that would be
That would
amazing.
be fantastic.
And then we maybe do first show in the
We'll
site
have it at the site.
whenever it gets opened up. We can do that too.
that'd
So
be
we're doing long-term planning. Now.
Yeah,
This is-
yeah.
this is-
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yes.
the ribbon cutting.
It's closer than we think.
Awesome. That's
Oh
so
my
great.
gosh.
Dayna, Leann, thank you for putting up with my silliness. We really appreciate you being on the show, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
All right, thanks. And thank you for joining us. And next is going to be the musical stylings of Helena Hamann. And she plays a harp, 14-year-old girl. Phenomenal. So anyway, so stay tuned. We will be right back.
Hi, everybody. We're back, and we are very excited to have our next guest on the show here, Ms. Helena Hamann, who is a wonderful harpist. Harpist, that's the correct term,
Yes.
is that right? Thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you. It's very cool. I mean, I love this.
Have you seen the show before?
Yes, actually, when she said this thing to me, would you come on? I had to Google it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is cool. I want to be on here.
Oh, cool. Great.
Well, we certainly have fun doing it. We get a little bit silly, but we like to meet everybody around town. And I think we've been doing this for well over a year now.
Right.
And I think the exciting thing is just realizing how much breadth of talent there is in the area here. And so, finding musicians of all types, singers, spoken word, poets, anything like that. There's just a diversity of all kinds of great creativity going on in the area. And so, when we learned about you, we were excited to have you on the show. So now, how long have you been playing the harp?
I've been playing for about 6 years.
Okay. What got you interested in that? Because that's not exactly the sort of thing you can carry around in like a marching band or something. So.
No. Okay, so I was living in Finland, and there was a conservatory, and my mother said when I was 8, okay, you can take music lessons. She was thinking like, okay, I could play the piano, right? I mean, something like that. So I walk in, and the first thing is a teacher in a prom dress with a golden harp playing. She wasn't even playing a real song. She was just playing glossandos up and down, and I was in love with it, and I would not move. I just stood there like, ooh, this is my instrument. And it was very cool how it all happened. My mother said, this is not happening. This is at the point too, you couldn't even rent instruments. You had to buy it right away.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then my aunt stepped in and said, okay, if you take her to lessons, I can get her harp. If you don't, I can get her drum set. So my mother said, okay. So I started taking lessons, and I really liked it. And I didn't practice very much, but I loved my first teacher, and she kept me really interested. It was so cute. She had such a good personality for little kids. So then when I was, I celebrated my 10th birthday in America. We moved here, and then I started to play the harp a little bit more seriously with Sister Marcia at the conservatory. Because she was doing a different technique, and she was like, oh no, you can't do it like that, do it like this. And she had this ensemble with all these different harp players, and she was like, okay, you have to catch up. So I started practicing more. So I was there for quite a long time, I think 4 years or something, and I really learned a lot. Just 8 months ago or something, I just said, okay, it's time to move on. And that's really, I realized that this is what I want to do for life, and I love it.
Wow.
So now I take lessons in Milwaukee with Kelsey Molinari. She plays with Milwaukee Symphony.
Okay. So, I mean,
You're amazed, aren't
I
you?
am. I'm kind of, well,
You're
just
totally
on a
blown
couple of
away.
fronts. I mean, one is that it's rare to have somebody that kind of, walks in and sort of like knows that's sort of what you're all about and what you want to do. And, but it's clear, like you've got that vision. I mean, when I hear you talk about it, there's a clear love, for that work.
I express myself through it, and everything just it's a gift. It's a gift that has been given to me, and it's a gift that I want to give out to other people. And it's quite a bit like art too. I don't know if people can see that. There's beautiful art here, and it's like the same thing. Whatever I put out there, I just hope that people can just take it in.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful. Now, public performances. Where have you performed, and where can people see you?
I performed a couple times now with the Lakeshore Wind Ensemble in Manitowoc. I performed with UW Fox Valley, the Wind Ensemble there. 2017, I performed with Garth Newstead at the Capitol Civic Center. I used to perform pretty monthly, actually, at the stage at the Holy Family Conservatory. I performed just recently The Sound of Christmas at Silver Lake, the Silver Lake College, Holy Family College, and I performed in their ensemble. That was very cool.
Oh, nice.
And I love playing at gigs. People call me, it's great, can you play for my gig? And I'm homeschooled, so I practice for it, and I come and I do my thing, and I'm so happy I can contribute to other people's events and things.
That's wonderful. So as far as the kinds of pieces, like I've heard harpists play, but like, are there some sort of classic pieces that you sort of love more than any others, or we can take the opposite side of that? Are there ones that you don't love playing so much?
Well, there was this one piece. I'm not gonna name it. There's this one piece. It was very modern, and I had difficulty getting a grip of it because it was 7 minutes of nonsense. There just goes on. Everything sounded wrong. And I was preparing for a competition, so I played this probably for half a year, hours every day. It was terrible. So then at some point I just said, okay, I'm doing this. I have to get something out of it. So I started imagining it, and it was difficult at first, but really I like playing all kinds of genres. My favorite genre that I just love to play is like classic French 20th century, 19th century, because it's beautiful, but it's so expressive. I mean, I love Handel, dun dun dun. I mean, it's very nice, but this French music, this classic, it's a whole new level because it's beautiful. It's just gorgeous. It's majestic. But the thing with this is that it's so expressive. You can put all your feeling into it, and it comes very naturally.
Wonderful, wonderful. I was joking a little bit with Darla earlier. Like maybe we could get you to play, some punk music or a little bit of hard rock or something like that.
Singer, but yeah. I can't help playing a little bit of
A little bit of what?
Beatles.
A little bit of the Beatles?
Yes.
You said with a very low voice, like, a little bit of Beatles. Yeah, but
That's cool.
I think that's awesome. That's great. That's great.
Why not?
Okay. So, what are you thinking you might be playing for us today?
I'm going to be playing Handel's Passacaglia, which is just a gorgeous piece. I wanted to play it because I felt that there's a sort of a bridge. It connects the beautiful Baroque, rhythms, and it's just so precise and competent. And then the other thing that I wanted to play is the Song in the Night by Salcedo. I wanted to play it because it's very contrasting, it's fresh, and it demonstrates what the harp can do. There's a lot of different sound effects. You play with the nails, and it's all these funky pedal combinations. And the pedals actually work like flats and sharps. So it's just a very fresh sound, and then there's like a little knocking. And it's cool. And then the last thing I wanted to play is a nice version of Angels Who Carry on High, because after all, it's the holiday season.
It's the season, yes, absolutely. Very good. Well, Ms. Hamann, thank you for joining us on the show today.
I'm so excited.
We look forward to hearing your work, and we hope you'll be able to come back and join us again sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And do not go anywhere, because in just a split second, we'll be able to hear the beautiful music that this young lady is capable of giving to us as a gift for the Christmas season. So stay tuned.
you.